And we're back with Investing Insights with Barry Burnett, your entrepreneurial investor real estate show. This is not your average home show. You're not your average radio discussion of window treatments and countertops and things. Those are all wonderful things to talk about. But we are here to talk to entrepreneurial investors, not banks, not hedge funds, not mega corporations. We don't really care about the insurance companies. They've got experts coming out their ears. But what about you? You're driving along, you're in your workshop, you're talking with your family, and a show like this comes on where you get real aha moments, real legitimate content, so that you can run your properties stronger, safer, smarter. Well, that's what this show is about. That's what my company is about. We do this show because our entrepreneurial investors really need access to experts. And Barry Burnett Realty, Inc. and Burnett Commercial Properties, we have really excellent, constant tie-ins to true, legitimate experts, people that have been vetted, organizations and individuals that are trustworthy. Right now, we're talking to Randy Beckmann, the CEO and owner of Get Her Done Termite and GetHerDoneTermite.com. And Randy is on this show because he's an expert whom I use, whom I trust. So if you contact BarryBurnett.net, become a friend of the show, or go on Facebook and like us, Investing Insights on Facebook, what you're going to get is you're going to get the opportunity to download our tips, our white papers, our blogs, and information that will help you as the entrepreneurial investor to run your real estate portfolio, your holdings, your ownings, your assets in a safer manner. So your assets will be stronger, safer, smarter. So your future is controllable. Your property doesn't own you. You own your property. And the reason we're talking to Randy Beckmann from Get Her Done Termite is Randy is that expert that I go to, and he deals with everything anywhere you can hear my voice. In Southern California, he deals with termite eradication, wood-destroying organism eradication. And Randy, we've talked about subterranean termites. We've talked about drywood termites. We've talked about carpenter bees. Now, what other kinds of wood-destroying organisms are there?
There's powder post beetles. There's false powder post beetles. There is fungus, dry rot. There is also carpenter ants.
Okay, let's go back. Do we care if it's a powder post beetle or a false powder post beetle? Do they both damage property?
They do.
So we don't care as entrepreneurial investors whether they're one or the other, but you do because you treat them differently, right?
Correct. I mean, definitely the investor and whoever has them definitely will want to go ahead and eradicate that issue.
Now, do we have a lot of those beetles in Southern California?
We do.
Okay. What kind of wood do they usually get into?
They'll get into, actually, I just recently did an inspection, and we went ahead. They were in the hardwood floor. In the hardwood floor. Right. So we got beetles in the hardwood floor. Right.
Now, why do they do that?
Well, they'll get into any wood, but what they're doing is obviously they're, mating, colonizing themselves in there. And then the sucky thing about it is that the fumigation itself is, because it take a fumigation typically to take care of them, is a lot. It's a lot more chemical usage. So we're using a lot more Vicane to take care of it. The reason why is a drywood termite has a very soft body. If you see a drywood, it actually is fully white in itself, where a beetle has a nice hard exoskeleton to where we have to get into that and go ahead. So it just takes more chemical to do, and of course more money.
Well, we're with Investing Insights with Barry Burnett. I'm your host, Barry Burnett, here on Talk Radio 790 KABC. And if you're driving along listening to us, the aha moment is even here in Southern California, where we are theoretically in a desert, where we saw a little bit of a nano inch of wetness in the last 8 months.
Right.
We still have wood-destroying organisms that depend on water and moisture and humidity and things that you'd say, well, geez, we're in this desert. Certainly that doesn't happen. But People bring in wood from other areas, and they've got a lot of different kinds of beetles in the Bay Area. And if you're from the Bay Area, interesting point. Entrepreneurial investors need to know this. Randy, I'm pretty sure you know this, but most real estate agents don't realize if you are localized to Southern California, it's the custom that the seller pays for eradication in a real estate transaction for the eradication of wood-destroying organisms. So that typically in Southern California, the seller pays. Let's say you sell your house in Los Angeles or Beverly Hills and you're moving to San Jose. So you sell from an expensive area and you pay maybe $20,000 to take care of all of the wood-destroying organism repairs in your dwelling in Beverly Hills, and you move to San Jose, and guess what? What most people don't realize, in the Bay Area, north of around, I would guess, Hollister, the trend and the tradition is that the buyer pays. The seller doesn't.
Right.
So if you sell down here and you buy up there, it's a double whammy.
Right.
Isn't that exciting?
That is. Wow.
And up there, it's a lot more moisture, right?
I didn't know that.
And a lot more moisture means a lot more likelihood of wood-destroying organisms.
Definitely.
So it depends on where you are. And the takeaway of that is it's always here, but they're maybe a little cheaper to deal with them here.
Yeah, I mean, we have, in Southern California, we obviously have dry woods. Where back east and stuff like that, they only have subterranean typically. Mm-hmm. Definitely not dry woods there. The reason why is they have the 4 seasons. We pretty much have 1 season year round.
So if we know that 22 out of every 20 properties have termites, there are other wood-destroying organisms. And we were talking about mold and fungus.
Right. Fungus and dry rot, what we do at Get Her Done Termite is, if we see fungus and dry rot, you have to remove the fungus. You have to remove it. So if it gets in, like you were saying, your brother-in-law, that we saw fungus in the eave, and we also saw carpenter ants, we have to remove that wood out of that area and then replace it or repair it.
Why is that?
Reason why is that anything that a fungus is touching, it will go ahead and keep on pursuing. So last thing we want is if it's on your eave, it starts pursuing into your attic.
Can you kill the fungus?
We can kill. Well, we got to remove the fungus, and we also spray it with a salt-based product.
Now, the fungus is an organism. It's a colony, right?
It's an organism, yes.
It's kind of like coral is in the ocean. Fungus is a colony.
Right.
It colonizes very rapidly.
That's a perfect analogy.
Okay, so we've got this coral that eats wood.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
basically.
And if you take away the water source, it can go dormant. But if you reintroduce any water source, even up to 1,000 years from now,
right, it's right back there.
Bingo. The colony is re-energized by the water sources.
Yep.
That's true, right?
Right.
So you have to actually remove. You can't just put on a fungicide.
Exactly.
A lot of homeowners go to Do It Center, Lowe's, Home Depot, and they get a fungicide.
Right. We do throw a fungicide on there in our industry, or a Get Her Done Termite. Just to make sure that, okay, regardless of what we removed, it's still treated.
After you remove the bulk of the colony, then you can kill the little stuff, that little residue, right?
Right. And we just don't want it. We don't want to come back there. We want to make sure your property is taken care of.
Because again, once you've got that fungus, you have to remove it. This is why Burnett Commercial Properties is doing this show, so that you understand there is an advocate. You have this show to rely on because we will put you in contact with experts. Randy Beckmann is one of our experts. We trust him. We've vetted him. If you have a question, if you have a concern, if you have a property issue, contact barryburnett.net. barryburnett.net. We are your resource. We will be right back with a lot more really important aha moments. Stay with us.